Hi everyone, this is Tammy, owner of Worthy, Worth It, and Priceless, and today's podcast is titled Take Your Rightful Position. So where I live, we have alternating parking days or whatever. So if it's an even day, you park on the odd side. If it's an odd side, you park on the even side. So my house is on the even side, odd side, so it is not really that hard on days that I have to basically park in front of my house. But there are days when it's the even days and we have to park or the odd days you have to park on the even side, which is basically across the street. Sometimes I have an issue. My apartment is apartment B. I have a neighbor that is 2 doors down, which is in apartment D. And the issue that I keep running into is sometimes when I park on the opposite side of the street, this neighbor seems to get too close to my car. Now, it's not the woman. It is usually the man. Like the woman, she parks in front of their house. It's no big deal. But it's something about when the man parks at the house, he parks so close to my car. Like if somebody was to park behind me, I wouldn't be able to get out. And especially if the person behind me was like super close, I wouldn't be able to get out. And the thing is, there is so much space in front of the car. Like he could easily park in front of their house. But for some reason, he parks in front of my house or like just basically so close to my car. So for me to try to alleviate this problem, what I started doing was I was parking further back. There's a tree there as well. So I was parking a little bit behind the tree and whatever. What ended up happening was the further back I was parking, somehow his car got further back. And I'm like, okay, now you trying to do this on purpose. And it's not like every time. Because like I said, sometimes she drives, sometimes they don't even park overnight or whatever. So it's, one of those types of situations. But either way, it is an inconvenience. And I'm like, I don't want somebody that close to my car. I do not like people being that close to my car. Like, it's just a thing. And, as I know, I don't control the streets, blah, blah, blah. But it's just the point. Like, why are you parked so close to my car? So one day I was just basically fed up. And I was like, all right, dude, why? And, I got into the car because I have to always move from one side to the next. And then usually on the weekends, I just move the car like really early in the morning, if me and Yuve ain't going nowhere. So I just do it early in the morning. And one morning I went to go change my car to the other side. And I'm like, and you should see how close this car was. But either way, I got in the car and I'm like, why is he parked so close? Like, why are you in front of my house? And I heard a voice was like, why don't you just park in front of your own house? If you don't like him parking in front of your house, why don't you just park in front of your own house? And that's the thing. Sometimes what we do is we shrink back to make it convenient for other people when they don't care about making it inconvenient for us. He doesn't care about the point that he's not parked in front of his house or how close he is to my car. I don't know the reason why he's parked that close to my car. Maybe he's trying to make it available for somebody else to park in front of him. I don't know. But for me, it's an inconvenience. And for the most part, as you can tell, I am somewhat passive aggressive. But I do have that. Like, it's certain things I'm not going to argue with somebody about. I'm just not a confrontational person like that. I have been, but it's just certain things I'm not going to do. Especially not like where I live at. Like, I have to see you every day type of thing. I'm not that type of person. But what I'm not going to do is sit up here anymore and just allow situations or people to just take me out of like my position. And it may seem weird because you already know, like, you don't control the streets, blah blah blah, you know, all that good stuff. But it's just the whole point. Like, why are you parked in front of my house? And so it's like you're territorial about that. Like, you wouldn't want anyone parking in front of your house. Like, why are you in front of my house? Like, for what purpose or what thing? Are you trying to antagonize me or anything like that? That's what you usually go to. But back to, the encouragement part of it. You have to look at that in your own life. Why are you shrinking back and you not being who God has created you to be? Why are you not taking your rightful position into the dreams and the gifts that God has given you? Another example, I remember when I was in college. It was my last year of college, and I had a teacher, God rest his soul, but his name was Arthur Taylor. And Mr. Taylor was like pro-black, all this good stuff. Like, he was like an activist. He did a lot of stuff. He was really smart. And so we had a class where we were just basically coming up. It was my speech class. It was my speech class, and we had to talk about a business or this, that, and the third. And at the time, Worthy, Worth, and Priceless was Confidently Beautiful. So get up there. I end up ordering T-shirts, and I talked about my business and this, that, and the third. And it was an early day, so we got out of class early. And after class, Mr. Taylor, we talked about the business and everything, and what my vision was for Confidently Beautiful and everything like that. And he was like, "That's what you're supposed to do." And he was pointing to like the podium. And he said, "That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be an inspirational speaker. You're supposed to be a motivational speaker. That's what you're supposed to do." And even when he said that, I was like, it was something I really wanted to do. But now this was way before the YouTube channels, way before podcasting, all that. But even at that moment, I shrunk back, and I was like, and I had so many ideas of why I couldn't do it. I was like, no, I'm kind of shy. I don't know. And, I had never really done it. I don't really know what to do. And he gave me steps and tips and all this other stuff to do it. And I was still like, oh, I don't know. So anyway, it took me 3 years to make my first YouTube video. I made my first YouTube video in, I think it was July 2014. And then I didn't do a podcast until last year, so 2018. So it was 3 years into my first YouTube channel and 7 years into the podcast. And I think it's basically this year, so 8 years, that I was basically like, you know what, this is really what I want to do. And so that's why I'm encouraging you that same way. Probably don't have to take as long as I took, but at the end of the day, get into your rightful position. Get into where God has called you to be. You're not getting any younger. And it's not even that you have to be so much in a rush, but why not start living a life that you're happy with? Start living a life that makes you basically happy. Instead of sitting up here, it's enough sitting back and shrinking back and allowing, just basically not living the life that you want to live. And you wake up every morning, it's a routine. Whether you wake up every morning, you go to school or you go to work or whatever, and you feel like there is something that's missing in your life, why aren't you start working towards what you're doing? You don't have to have all the money in the world. You don't have to have everything together, but at least start taking steps. If you want to do anything, just start small. Even if it's just start planning, just start doing something so that at the end of the day or whatever, you'll be in your rightful position. Don't allow other people to bully you into not being who you want to be, and not even yourself. Because I know how it is. You're sitting out there like, man, I could never do this. Like I was telling my teacher, like, man, I could never do this, and I would never do this. And at the end of the day, now look at me, by the grace of God. The podcast is on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora and all these different places, Spotify, and I don't sing or anything. Like, those is usually like radio stations. Like, this was possibly never heard of before. And even being on YouTube and stuff like that, like, most people, when I used to be around my ex or whatever, we would go places, and a lot of his friends never heard me speak, and they thought I was mute. Like, they thought I could not speak, or I didn't talk at all, because they never heard me talk. And so for me to go from a place where no one heard my voice to now, it's like I have to use my voice, because I want to encourage you guys to do, not basically be me or do, like, learn from my mistakes or learn from my mishaps and the lessons that I've learned. And with that being said, don't take as long as it took me. If it's something, I'm sorry, I have a cold, but if there is something inside of you that you know that you have to do, and God, you already know God will bring you back to that situation one way or another. He's going to bring you back to that, because I know every time I tried to walk away from this or whatever, it's like it was a burning desire, like, okay, this isn't working out, this isn't working out, you know what, let me go back. And you know what I mean? Because everything possibly won't work out until you actually get to where God is calling you to be. It's not that he's being mean or rude to you, or, or anything, or punishing you. He's trying to get you to be the person that he know that you can be. He put something inside of you for a purpose, on purpose. And it's time for us to start getting into our positions and start really doing what God has called us to do on this earth. Instead of us sitting up here going to work every day like, man, I don't want to be at this job, I don't want to be at this job, but you know that God is pushing you to be something else, and you're just afraid to let everything else go. So, with that being said, fight for what you believe in. Just like me, at the end of the day, I'm not shrinking back. I'm not moving my car back to make somebody else happy. I'm not silencing my voice to make other people comfortable. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what God has called me to do on this earth to do, because basically there's only one me. And whatever that he put in the inside of me, only I can do that. And I realize that now, and like I said, I'm not shrinking back anymore. And I want to encourage you all not to shrink back. Don't be afraid. Even if you are afraid, do it scared. Let's go. God gave us one life. Let's live it to the fullest until basically our day is over. So until next time, know that you are worthy, worth, and priceless, and God has a purpose for your life, and don't give up by any means necessary. Bye.